Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 79. We are titling this one Exorcism-Turned-Murder. I'm your host, Nyoka.
I'm Rachel.
I hope you guys have enjoyed our episodes with guests. We absolutely love having them. We have another repeat guest coming up next month. We're pretty excited about. We'll just keep that a surprise for right now. And I do want to remind people that if you know someone who would like to be a guest and maybe even share a story of something evil related that they may have experienced, please feel free to reach out to us. We won't bite. The best way to reach out is either through Facebook or our email, operationevilpodcast@gmail.com. We are currently gathering listener stories to share at a later time. So if you're more comfortable just emailing your story and not necessarily being a guest, you can do that too.
Or you could always do a video or like a voice recording thing.
Yeah, whatever you are comfortable with, we're here to listen and share your story. So please feel free to do that. And I do want to say that this story I'm getting ready to tell has probably been the hardest one yet to write and just research. So this is your trigger warning. This story is very, very disturbing in like every way possible. It includes a child, it includes abuse, and it includes many things. So if you decide that this episode is too much for you and you want to turn it off, go ahead. I understand. Come back next time, and I'm sure it won't be as heavy, but this one is heavy. And I just want to tell you that now. But here we go. This is the story about the exorcism of Amara Carson.
Oh, what a pretty name.
I know, right? Beautiful. Amara Carson was born on November 12th, 2007 to Alan Merton and Jessica Carson. However, Alan went into the military and Jessica moved on. From what I understand, he only got to see Amara twice. This little girl would only get to live for 13 months before her life was taken in the most horrific way. This is Amara's story. I warn you one last time, it's a tough one to hear. Amara's mother, Jessica, ended up moving on with a man named Blake Keith Milam. He seemed to take on Amara as his own right away and claimed to care for her. I do want to give a little background on this couple. They were in high school when all this was happening. So she was a young mom and they were young when they met. Jessica graduated from Longview High School at the top of her class. Meanwhile, Blaine was a 6th grade dropout. They were completely different with academics, for sure. Blaine did time for criminal solicitation of a minor related to a March 2007 break-in when he left obscene notes in the bedroom of a 13-year-old girl. William Brown from the Rusk County District Attorney quoted saying, "He went through her underwear drawer and then took adult magazine pictures he cut out and would write obscene notes on the pictures telling her he would like to perform each act with her."
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. He also had been arrested on several charges of causing disturbances and family violence and assault. And yes, Jessica was aware of all of this, and she still let this man around her daughter. So Jessica was 17 when she met Blaine in 2008, and he proposed to her on prom night. Jessica would shortly move out of her mother's house and move in with Blaine. Jessica's family noticed a change when they started to see her less and less. Only months later, Jessica would no longer have contact with her mother and began to blame her mother for her father's death. Her father actually committed suicide, and this greatly impacted Jessica's life, and she began to say that her mother killed him, even though her mother wasn't even home at the time he took his life. And we will get into this a little bit more in just a few moments. Jessica became withdrawn, not only from her family, but with everyone. Blaine started to become very controlling and jealous of Jessica, and he never left the apartment. I'm sorry, she never left the apartment except with Blaine, and her friends were no longer coming over to visit. Jessica was with Blaine at all times, and I do mean at all times. Even when he was at work, she was with him.
And I guess the child was with them too?
Yep. That's what I would assume. So it almost sounds like a little abusive, with the controlling.
Oh, yeah.
So Jessica no longer cared about her appearance either. This was concerning, considering that she seemed to take pride in her appearance before. She used to always be neatly dressed, and she took very good care of baby Amara. But again, this is another thing that abusers do. They kind of isolate you from family and friends, and then your hygiene then, decreases and all of that stuff. So it seemed that Blaine was making all of the decisions in their relationship as well. And his control on her increased to the point that he began using her passwords to gain access to the internet and pretend to be her while communicating online. I don't like that at all. In spring of 2008, Blaine's father passed away too. So the couple went out to buy an Ouija board so that they could talk to their deceased fathers as if it were like a direct phone line to heaven. The Ouija board apparently told Jessica things that only her father would know, and that her mother killed him. He told her that the only way to get any peace was to do something about it. And Jessica believed this, all of it. She even believed that their apartment was possessed by evil spirits. So they got up and left their place to move in with Blaine's mother. And according to another story I heard about this, it said that they left the place completely trashed. There was still food in the fridge. There was a broken light bulb that was full of drugs. And then there was a knife inside of the toilet tank. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. They just
sounds
up and left.
That sounds like a Reaper Clean moment.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it does. Jessica was later convinced that Blaine was possessed by an evil spirit, and she knew this to be true because of his expressions, tone of voice, and, quote, something that wasn't what I know Blaine to be, end quote. She said that after the demon came into Blaine, he could talk to God, and Blaine said Jessica was causing this by lying to him. And according to Jessica, Blaine loved Amara and was wonderful with her during the time of his possession. I just want to throw that out there.
What?
I don't get it. How are you possessed by demons or whatever, but able to talk to God and still treat Amara good? I don't get it.
Huh.
Anyway. So she would no longer question Blaine because he told her, quote, God says there's things that you just don't need to know right now, end quote. On December 1st, 2008, Jessica woke up and told Blaine that Amara was possessed by a demon and was walking, which was ironic because she wasn't actually walking yet. She didn't know how to walk yet.
So, she's still crawling or...
Yeah. Yeah, but she's possessed by a demon and walking. Okay. Blaine blamed Jessica because she had not been honest with him, and God was just tired of her lying. Jessica asked Blaine if there was something they can do about Amara's possession. Blaine said that God was showing him how to do the exorcism that would help Amara. Now, I just want to remind everyone before I continue that Blaine was a convicted sex offender who reportedly should have been behind bars at the time of Amara's death. Okay?
Oh,
but
gosh.
Here he is, loose.
I hate hearing these things.
With a child living with him, which should not even have happened.
A female child.
And from what I understand, he moved or he went somewhere and he failed to like register as a sex offender, and they just never followed up. And here we go.
Oh no.
Okay.
Like a different state or something? Or
Something
county?
like that, yeah. And he didn't register like he was supposed to. So, yeah. Yeah. Now, remember, he's going to do an exorcism. God told him how to do it. That's where we're at, right?
All right.
Meanwhile, he's really supposed to be in jail. The exorcism and / torture is what it was that Amara endured lasted over a period of 30 hours. The result of the exorcism was her death. Jessica said that Amara was like Chucky or Pet Cemetery when the boy dies and comes back to life and all evil and stuff. That's what she said. Because the child was, quote, biting Blaine to where it was drawing blood on his hands, end quote. After Blaine returned to Amara, he took a picture of her and gave it to Jessica. One of her eyes was stretched and warped down. Jessica heard horrible cries from Amara as Blaine was attempting the exorcism. Once he left the door open to the room he was performing the said exorcism, and Blaine told Jessica that Amara ran out. Remember, Amara doesn't even walk yet, but he's saying she ran out. And Jessica went into the back bedroom, and Blaine told her that Amara was under the bed and ordered Jessica to leave the bedroom.
Oh, no.
According to her, when she saw Amara, she was not harmed. Blaine told her that God told him that the child got the hammer and was hitting herself on the head.
Oh, my God.
Jessica, admitting later to seeing Amara at this time, stated, quote, I saw her, but the first couple of times I didn't want to see her, end quote. She thought it was not really her child, but the demon inside of her. They placed the child in a car seat and drove to Walmart, where Blaine would go inside and Jessica would wait with Amara in the car until he returned. But not once during this time did she try to examine the little girl or even come to her rescue.
So I guess she thought this little girl was still the devil?
Yeah. They drove back home, and Blaine told Jessica that he may be required to sell his soul to the devil and thereby gain the child's release from the demonic possession, but Jessica encouraged him not to be trapped by the devil in that way. And Blaine agreed, and they went back to performing the exorcism. Later, when Jessica was asked if Blaine told her how God had told him to actually do the final exorcism that sent Amara to heaven, she answered that he did not tell her, but she did not ask.
Oh my God, so you mean that this child was alive when they went to Walmart?
Yeah. They did this over a period of 30 hours, so they took a break and went to Walmart and put that kid in the car seat. Yeah. Yeah. So, she's like, well, I didn't ask. She just said, I just let him go in there and I heard the demon cry out and scream out and I heard a lot of banging. At one point, Blaine told Jessica that he used a rope to tie up Amara to hold the demon still. Jessica told him that she would rather the child go to heaven now than spend a life with Satan having her soul. And maybe this is like where drugs and stuff come into. I don't know.
Well,
if they found like that light bulb for it full of drugs. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just assuming. Who would possibly think this?
I don't know how you go from playing on a Ouija board to that.
It's awful. Absolutely insane to not even look at your kid and wonder. You're hearing her cry and you're like, no, it's not her. It's just the demon inside of her.
And I mean, leaving the house and putting the child in a car seat, and you don't even check on the child or like...
No, nothing. Nothing. I can only imagine what this little girl was thinking, because as a child, you depend on your parents to protect you and love you and keep you safe. And everything else was happening instead. When it was all said and done, Amara was left in a hole in the bathroom floor.
In a hole?
Yep, there's a hole in the bathroom floor, and they just put her in it. Yep. Then the couple got in their car and drove to a pawn shop to pawn some items to pay for another exorcism, even though Amara was already deceased at this time. But it doesn't matter, because they used that money instead of the exorcism. They decided to buy cigarettes.
Horrible people. Horrible. Horrible. Like, what did they go to Walmart to buy exorcism tools?
I don't know what they bought at Walmart, but it's so weird to me that you're abusing this child and you take a break in the middle of it and take a Walmart trip. What did he buy? I don't know. So when they returned home from the pawn shop, and there was even video of them like at the pawn shop and at the convenience store buying cigarettes, like there was nothing wrong, okay?
Like it's just another day?
Like another day, no big deal. Nothing out of the ordinary. But when they returned home, Blaine made the following 911 call at 10:37 a.m. I'm going to play that for you right now.
911.
December 2008, 16 hours, 48 minutes, 15 seconds.
Rescue 911.
Yes. My name's Blaine Milam, and my daughter, I just found her dead.
How old's your daughter?
13 months.
13 months old? Okay, let me connect you with the ambulance service, okay? Ma'am, we're going to try CPR anyway, okay?
16
Get her to the
hours,
phone now.
51 minutes, 26 seconds.
Jenner! Blaine, Jenner, hurry! Are you there? Yes. Y'all stalling is not helping her at all. If he's not going to do it, you can put the phone down and go get that baby.
There you go. All right. Rachel's looking at me in disgust.
It just sounds like they're acting.
Yeah. And you notice he called and he said, I found my daughter.
Yeah.
So they call 911. There's torn clothing, 3 hungry dogs, and trash spread out across the front porch are all that remained of the crime scene. So gruesome that the Rusk County law enforcement officials began seeking psychological help. When the first deputy arrived on scene, paramedics informed him that the child was dead and there were suspicious circumstances. Additionally, she had already went entirely stiff and in rigor. It was around 11 a.m. when detectives entered the residence, and Lieutenant Reynold Humber, the chief criminal investigator, said, quote, I've seen a lot of these cases, but this is the worst I've ever seen, end quote. When detectives asked about Amara's injuries, the couple gave several explanations, including that they left the child unattended and someone must have broken and bludgeoned her. There was a story that the child was involved in a car accident. There was another story that she was bitten by dogs, and even that she hit herself with a hammer. Yeah.
I mean, this just keeps getting more and more horrible.
It really does. During the investigation of the crime scene, scientific evidence revealed that Amara's blood was found in various parts of the home. The mother later confessed that Blaine killed her child. Now, according to the document Carson versus States, and this was the most disturbing document that I found information about all of this. So it stated that Blaine had taken the child to the back bedroom in their small dwelling and wedged the door shut. The evidence would allow a jury to conclude that Jessica was fully aware of what was happening to her child because she admitted hearing the screams that accompanied such torture and because she saw the child's deformed head after some time had passed and heard the sounds caused by the blows. There is evidence that Jessica not only allowed Blaine to take her infant child into the other room, but that since the child was possessed by a demon, as Blaine proclaimed, she actually encouraged him to do whatever was necessary to rid her of the demon. The evidence shows that she was in the trailer the entire time and that there was blood splatter on the door that she would have seen. Jessica admitted to encouraging Blaine to do what was necessary to save her baby's soul and reminding him that Amara was possessed by a demon so he would not feel bad about hurting her. She also admitted seeing the marks made when Blaine bit Amara to stop the child's attacks against him with a kitchen knife. Right, so now she's attacking him with a kitchen knife. A 13-month-old that has her head like crushed in with a hammer is attacking him with it. Okay. Carson testified that she talked to the child at various points during the exorcism, and she stated that she would try to let her hear my voice, and it would be like for a while it would work, and then she would start getting mean again. And then I was like, is it coming back? And Blaine would say, yeah, it's coming back. And so I would just leave again, and then he would leave too. It is clear that Jessica agreed to the final round of exorcism and that she saw the child before it began and sat and watched television until Blaine was finished. Jessica told the investigator, the demon was trying to come after him and tried to kill him or whatever, so he pushed the demon away that was in Amara's body, and he started crying afterwards. He said he felt bad for it because it was like he was pushing Amara. I said, Blaine. I was like, that is not Amara. That is somebody. That is just her body. But that's some demon in there possessing her. And I was like, you did not push Amara. You pushed the demon.
That just sounds so idiotic.
It does. In the end, Blaine was convicted of capital murder in a separate trial and sentenced to death, and Jessica was sentenced to life in prison without a possibility of parole. Okay, so over the period of 30 hours of this torture, and as a result of their quote-unquote exorcism, forensic evidence showed what Amara really endured. Amara was beaten so severely that the amount of fractures to her skull connected with each other like a jigsaw puzzle, and her brain was torn and severely damaged. An arm and leg had spiral fractures, indicating they were twisted in two. Her torso was either struck by a blunt object or squeezed into the ribs and sternum broke. And her body, neck, chest, abdomen, buttocks, both elbows, both forearms, both feet, right arm, left shoulder, left upper arm, left hand, right thigh, and left knee was riddled with no less than 24 distinct bite marks. Her head and face were so scraped and bruised that all of the injuries combined into one giant injury. Her liver was torn, and her vaginal and anal orifices were so torn that they were actually, the vagina and rectum were connected. And the injury, the forensic examiner had actually never seen before.
That makes me want to throw up.
Mm-hmm. The underside of her tongue was lacerated from blunt force trauma. She was also strangled. Because of all the injuries that she sustained, it was not possible to determine which one was the final injury, and no singular cause of death was determinable. Forensic testimony reflected that several of the injuries standing alone would have been fatal. Through researching the story, a few updates appeared. In 2011, Judge Clay Gossett denied Blaine his request for a new attorney. Blaine told the judge that he no longer wanted Jeff Haas to serve as his attorney, stating that he wanted an attorney who would visit him whenever he requested. But the judge maintained that his attorney was trained and certified to appeal capital murder sentences, and that he will continue to serve as Blaine's court-appointed attorney. In May of 2012, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeal upheld the death sentence for Blaine, and defense lawyers tried to say there were 20 errors during his trial. The Court of Appeals did not agree.
How was there any errors? What errors?
Right? It makes you mad. It really does. In March of 2014, a documentary show called On Death Row came out featuring death row inmates. Inmate 999558, which was Blaine, was the youngest inmate on death row at the time of his conviction. On death row, Blaine had access to radio and newspapers, though he has no access to television. Blaine was being interviewed for the show and was talking about how he was in the F pod, which is a punishable pod, and he had been there twice before. This time he was there for getting busted with some wine. During the interview, Blaine was asked what the devil looks like. His answer was that the devil looks like nothing, and he couldn't answer the question. When the question was asked again, he said, well, I mean, I guess like you or me, I guess. I don't know. He said death row was serious and they don't treat you nice there. Blaine's mother was also interviewed during the program and said, and she talks about like how she is afraid for Blaine to die because she knows he is innocent.
This is comical. Like,
uh-huh. And this was in the house, like her house, that they did all this torturing in. I don't know where she was at the time. I don't know. Blaine's defense attorney, Stephen Jackson, said that he spent about 4 months total with Blaine, and he was the longest case of his career. He said Blaine was like a child, talking about cartoons and other childish things the way his own children did. While the jury was out deciding on if Blaine would get the death penalty or not, they watched Scooby-Doo cartoons, while anyone else would be upset, shaking, and praying for their life. Then, in 2019...
please don't tell me that they're going to say that he's, like, not coherent.
Right? Well, in 2019, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals stopped the state's first execution of the year, pointing to changes in bite mark science and laws regarding intellectual disability and the death penalty. So Blaine is 29 at this point, received a stay from the court a day before his death was scheduled. Blaine was convicted in the brutal death of his girlfriend's 13-month-old baby girl in 2008 in East Texas. In a late appeal, he argued against the state's reliance on bite mark testimony, which was a key part of his trial. His lawyers also claimed he was intellectually disabled and therefore ineligible for execution. Quote, because of recent changes in science pertaining to bite mark comparisons and recent changes in the law pertaining to the issue of intellectual disability, we therefore stay his execution and remand these claims to the trial court for a review of the merits of these claims, end quote, the order stated. At trial, the prosecution linked Blaine to several of the bite marks. His attorneys now say that science has largely been discredited and pointed to the Court of Criminal Appeals' recent decision overturning the murder conviction of Stephen Chaney. The court took the right step in December of claiming Chaney, after more than 25 years behind bars, was innocent and sent to prison based on bite mark science that has since been undermined or completely invalidated.
Really?
Rusk County prosecutors argued unsuccessfully to the court that the questions over bite mark science were already brought up at Blaine's trial in 2010, and that the state had enough other evidence that it wouldn't have affected the jurors anyway. They pointed to Blaine telling his sister from jail to get a hidden pipe wrench believed to be used in Carson's assault, as well as him confessing in jail to a nurse. Yeah, so when he was in jail, he called his sister and was like, hey, I need you to get this wrench that is whatever that was used. And she had like called the police instead to retrieve it. Like she didn't do it for him. But yeah, there was that. And yeah. The trial court must also take another look at Blaine's claims of intellectual disability. According to the court order, the issue was raised at Blaine's trial, which prosecutors said that the issue to bed, but there has been considerable change in how the state determines such disability since 2010. The last update I found was in 2021. A Texas appeals court has delayed what would have been the first execution scheduled in the state this year, so this happens again. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals granted the stay for Blaine, this time he's 31, to review intellectual disability claims. He had been set for lethal injection on January 14th, 2021.
I don't understand why this person's
Keeps being saved.
Yeah,
I know.
why is he more important than Amora?
Exactly. His attorneys say 3 of the 4 experts who examined him determined he is intellectually disabled. In its ruling, the appeals court ordered Blaine's claims to be reviewed by his trial court. Blaine says he prepares himself for his execution by telling himself and his mother that it's going to be okay no matter what, and that he needs her to know that whatever happens, he's going to be okay, and not to worry about him and to keep praying. At this point, we don't know if he will actually be executed or not, but I firmly do believe that in one way or another, he will pay for taking the life of Amora Carson. And that's her story.
Question though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you ever find anything where he said I'm sorry, or I really thought that she was a devil, or see, it's all about him, not her.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so angry.
I know. That poor baby, what she went through. Do you see why I said it was so hard to write this one?
I understand now.
The way inside and out, all over, she was just ripped apart. And oh God, it hurts my soul for this little girl.
And it just makes it so much worse that I don't know.
That he keeps being saved.
Yes.
I know.
It's just
he'll be constantly set to die, and the day before they're like, you know what? We're gonna put this on hold.
Oh gosh, and the intellectually.
Yeah, he dropped out of school in 6th grade, but he fully was aware of what he was doing. You can't tell me he wasn't.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but the whole thing about watching Scooby-Doo, there is grown adults that are in their 40s or 30s that watch cartoons.
Yes,
I mean,
and they're not intellectually disabled.
No, that just sounds like an excuse or something.
That's his attorney trying to, play the defense card, I'm sure. The mother should have got...
She should have got lethal injection, too.
Yeah, she definitely should have. Yeah, and she encouraged it just as much. She's just as guilty. She didn't do anything to protect her baby. This poor little girl.
Disturbing and disgusting.
But I do believe he will pay for this in one way or another. I really do think that what you put out there in the universe will come back to you in one way or another, regardless if it's his execution or not. He will answer to it in some way.
Nayoka showed me a picture of Amora, and she is so pretty.
Yes, she is adorable. I never heard anything else about the bio dad. Like, and during the investigation, he never came forward. I don't know if he just wasn't part of her life or what. I mean, I know he was in the military, but
it makes you wonder, did he really know? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I even just Googled his name in the newspapers and just Google itself, and I wasn't finding anything, like nothing. Like, how does nothing show up? I mean, I wasn't finding social media. I wasn't finding anything for this dad.
I mean, I guess it could be possible that maybe the work he does, he stays off of social media, and then, if people do approach him about Amora, maybe he just, I'm not commenting.
Maybe that's what it is. You could be completely right. Or maybe he's still in the military and that's why he has no presence on.
Could be overseas.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But I'm sorry to do that to you guys. I think this was probably one of the most disturbing ones that I've had to read and research for sure.
But I think it's important that we know. I mean, she was Amora so much more than this story, but it's like I was telling Nayoka yesterday, she was like talking about how she was really bothered, and I'm like, but we have to remember her.
Yeah.
Her name has to be out there so people know about her, and it's a way that we can prevent other things from happening.
You're right. It's her story. It needs to be told. And hopefully there can be something to be learned about this. I don't know. But that's it. And if you hung in this long, thank you. If you can't get enough of Operation Evil, consider supporting the podcast. You can go on our Patreon. There's different levels you can choose from. We put out a bonus episode every month. We had just actually released one before we started recording this, and it was on the Take Care of Maya documentary on Netflix. It was amazing.
Which, by the way, you might want to spread these episodes out if you're a Patreon listener, and don't listen to them back to back, because
depressing all the way around.
Don't do that to yourself.
I know. And we did this to ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can totally join our Patreon. That would be amazing to have your support. But if you can't join, that's okay. You can support us in other ways. We have a link in our show notes called Buy Us a Coffee. And it's just like a little one-time little donation that you can do. There's also a way to support us for free, which is tell people about the podcast, share our Facebook, anything like that. Just word of mouth. It's very much appreciated. It goes a long way, and we love all of you for sticking around. So thank you for making it through, and happy early 2-year anniversary to us. July 5th is our anniversary. Yay. We'll try to pop in and say happy anniversary or something on that day. I don't know. We'll see. I don't even know what day that falls on, but
I think it's like...
It's exciting.
A Wednesday.
I feel like we need to at least be like, happy 2-year anniversary.
We can do like a happy episode.
I know.
A mini episode.
Wait, what's a happy episode? This is Operation Evil. We don't do happy here. We keep people depressed and sad.
We have to lighten it up before we go, though. Thank you, Rob from Order 42 Show, for being our guest.
Yes, thank you, Rob.
That was so much fun. And go check his YouTube channel out. He does reviews on movies and TV shows and things like that. And he's just a great guy.
And he was showing off our merch. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for doing that.
Thank you for being such a good supporter.
Yeah,
And-
we have awesome notebooks.
Yeah, because Billy's not a good supporter.
Yeah, Billy.
Billy, don't be a hero.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah, we do have Operation Evil notebooks though. The link for that Amazon link is in the show notes too.
Made by
You need one.
yours truly.
Yes, they're
Not me.
amazing. They got blood splatter like pages inside. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say not me, Nyoka. They're made by Nyoka.
But still, it's made with love from both of us.
Hope that made you feel better.
Right? All right, so that's all we got. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.